panel, and I know we have a few, they're not in this group right now, but a few who are in favor of it. Do you think about like the school shootings, does that impact you at all, or does that still make you think that your belief that
it makes me think that gun control is a problem because it's over 90% of mass shootings happen in gun-free zones.
that is interesting, and that's a fact that you found in your research?
Yeah, I think it's just like gun control, like it's been shown not to work. Like in the states that have like the strictest gun control laws, that's also where like the most mass shootings
Like
happen, the highest percentage. Like Maryland has like one of the strictest gun control laws in the entire country, but like we've had like 3 mass shootings like over the past like 5 years, I think.
And all the shootings in Baltimore, when we're the murder capital of the United States, some years.
Yeah, and then like opposed to Texas, where like they have like very little gun control laws, but you don't see a lot of mass shootings happening there.
Did your research show you anything like for a solution? Gun control is not the solution. What is the solution to preventing gun deaths in America?
I think some of it said like maybe just take more like higher like, capacity guns, but like still that's, I mean, but then it said like high capacity guns aren't really used in a lot of shootings, so it wouldn't really help.
All right, Taylor, let's talk about your issue. You looked at gay adoption, and I know you're very much in favor of gay adoption. What was the most compelling argument for why?
Because it's like, for my thing, what I said was that if they're like a fit parent and they want to adopt a child, they should have the right to adopt a child if they're fit for being a parent.
Yeah. What was the most compelling piece, and I know that you and I would not agree with it, but what was the most compelling piece of evidence on the opposing side?
They said that they wouldn't have like the opportunity to have a female and a male relationship as their parents.
The traditional family. Is gay adoption something you all thought about? I know that's not the topic that you picked, but
I have like no opinion on it.
My opinion is they're still people. Like why can't they adopt? Like that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I see people argue because there's not like a mother and father figure, like because and it might mess up the kid. I don't think so.
let's try to find an issue that you all have different feelings about. Some of the other topics were death penalty. Anybody in favor of, have strong opinions about death penalty? For it. Okay. What about affirmative action? That's an interesting one. Have you heard about this scandal that's just with the celebrities that have broken, like, okay, I'm gonna pay $500,000 for my kid to be on the rowing team and then get into USC, right? But that made me think a lot about how wealth and privilege are rewarded in this country, and do we think it's okay for schools to have quotas in terms of numbers of certain minority groups? Do you have feelings on that issue?
I don't think they should accept people based if they're a minority or not. I think you should go by who's the best qualified candidates.
Yeah, no matter what like minority or majority they are.
Even if you're not getting certain voices represented, like in that?
I mean, college is supposed to be about your education, so why aren't you going on things that aren't based on your education?
But is education solely based on a test score?
No, but like, so just your minority is going to get you in, just because you're
Yeah, I don't think
you're supposed to get
because
in.
if you have a different skin color than someone, that makes your education already.
But can't you learn more about different types of people if we represent a greater
can,
swath of
but
voices?
that still doesn't.
It still doesn't. We're still not convinced. Okay, well, I would love for you to talk for just another minute or two about something controversial. You seem to mostly be on the same page on things. I'm gonna walk around and see if anybody needs anything as they're finishing up their station. Guys, we've got 1 more minute in our first station. These guys are ready to have a wonderful talk. Everything work out okay over here?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all of us completed this, but
Okay.
there's no absolute way we're...
And that's fine. That's fine. So you can just jot down something, or if you don't even have time to jot down something, then you can finish that at home. But you don't have to make a complete cartoon. You could just say, here's an idea for my topic, and just put the other one in here. Okay? You guys okay on this one? Understood. Were you able to talk a little bit about your documentary? Great. This makes sense. Whether or not, I know we'll lose more time. We'll get the different opinions about removals for the voiceless. You're finishing up your discussion. Obviously, that's something you could finish at home too. What is something you all disagree on? I feel like I'm talking. Wonderful. All right, so we're gonna go ahead in the next 30 seconds and transition to our second station. If you did not finish something on your first station, you're welcome to take it home. I know you all worked hard on it. Obviously, the online discussion you can save and go back and add to, okay? So you're just moving on to the next number in your sequence. You did a great job. Great job. Kelsey, that one's entirely on paper, so you don't need to worry about that on paper, guys. Hi, you guys. All right, so we're in the Station 4 folder, Engaging Controversy with Civility. I've got the first infographic on paper too, but it just cuts off a little bit on the end, so it's not quite as good. So it is in here for Station 4. I just want you to take a minute to look at this, okay, and let me know what it tells you about the conservative and liberal beliefs in America. Sure. Of course it did. That's why. Of course. Joey, I think you'll find this particularly interesting. This is what it looks like here.
What do I play?
The first, well, not the directions. This one right here, declining share. Yeah. What are these graphs showing us?
Good, I got it.
You got it. Good.
That people are becoming a bit more decisive on whether they're liberal or conservative.
Yes, people are becoming more decisive from 1994 to 2007, right? Less likely to hold a combination of beliefs. What do you think that's doing to civil discourse in our country?
Creating more disagreements between people.
I'm more violent.
I don't know how attuned you are as teenagers. Do you pay, I know you do. Do you pay attention to politics?
I try to avoid
Why do you try to avoid politics?
because it's just a big headache.
It's a big headache, right? So maybe the second infographic, Civility in America by the Numbers. I wonder if this contributes to your headache. Take a minute to look through these statistics and let me know which ones stand out to you. This is about incivility in America. Civility being formal politeness and courtesy in behavior or speech. I'm going to walk around with you, take a minute to look at this facts and be ready to discuss. Do you know what you did? And then as time permits, sketching one out. In enough time, you can make that up, and it doesn't have to be a formal cartoon. It could just be like a description. All right, you're good. We'll be able to have a discussion with this later. Okay. All right, any questions? Everything's on here. Discussion should be able to voice this. Okay, well, you always agree on anything, but doing this one, see if you can have a discourse here about what you think about this climate survey. And is it not loading in here? Oh,
Well, no, I did, but it's still
Even.
just white.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm glad I printed it on paper too then.
Mine's working.
Yours is working?
Yeah. So
Okay.
this is what we're reading, right?
Yes, right. So this is a 12-year-old girl who's
Yeah.
leading a strike. That's pretty impressive, 12. Okay, what statistics stood out to you?
Like Genesis 9 and 10 say that incivility leads to intimidation and threats, harassment, discrimination, and cyberbullying.
Okay, these are problems. Do you see it on your social media threads? Do people talk about politics at all? Or is
Yeah.
it really? Do you see hostility
No.
in opinion?
Opinion, yeah, but hostility, no.
No, good. So you feel like the people that your Facebook, or you probably don't do Facebook, what do you do? What do you- Instagram. So people are able to have civil discussions.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Anything else? Nicholas, any of these numbers stand out to you?
Well, I did kind of say earlier about
not paying attention to politics, and the second thing or in this case, third thing they mentioned is that 53% quit paying attention to politics because of incivility.
Do you think that's part of it? Like it just feels like fighting to you?
Yeah,
Is that why you want to stay out of it?
and also just the general silliness that politics is having recently.
Just general silly. What specifically is like silly?
Just the things that's been stirring up in the government, the trade wars and all that stuff.
Here on Incivility Solutions, it says 58% favor elimination of fake news from the internet to improve civility. Is fake news something that you worry about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you accept everything that you see on social media?
No.
Can't really provide an answer because I don't go to social
You don't
media
use
that
social media.
much.
Do you pay attention to the news, like a TV news site or online news?
I'm not really much of a news check in person.
Okay. I don't know that I was that much in high school either. I really
I only
did.
know stuff from what people around me tell me.
Okay. So you have not seen that much incivility, but these numbers show that even if you're not experiencing your personal life, which probably means you have appropriate friends, that it's definitely happening. So I had you all look at this in advance of this lesson, but here it is again. If you'll pull up that third thing in here, it's the Word document that says engaging controversy with civility, Facebook examples. You may remember looking at this. Paper's easier to look at. It's here too. So this was my Facebook friend, and I changed these names just to protect anonymity. But this is my friend Katie, and she posted a post in regards to the New York abortion laws.
We've seen this before.
Yeah, you looked at this ahead of time, right? And so she was talking about, she has much more of like a pro-life position. She didn't think that that was appropriate to allow abortions up to 9 months. And so she had 2 Facebook friends who explained why they disagreed. One, because some women are forced to carry non-viable babies to term because they're not diagnosed till after 20 weeks. And this other woman who had a friend whose son was killed in utero, and because of abortion laws, had to actually deliver the son. So what did you notice? You can take a minute to look if you need to refresh your memory, like about how these women engaged in civil discourse, even though they had very different opinions on the subject of abortion, especially as it pertains to some recent laws in New York.
Well, they didn't start calling out each other. They said that they looked into their response and they told each other they appreciate it, and they they looked further into their stories and made sure they knew more information about it before they started going completely against it.
Right. So I like the point you said, they didn't jump completely into it, and they took a lot of time to read about it from multiple sources. That's kind of what we've done with our PBA, right? That when you came up with your position on a social justice issue, and will you remind me what your 3 topics is? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Where are you researching? Gun control. What are you researching? The DREAM Act. Okay, good. So we'll have some good talks in a few minutes. Okay, so you noticed that they had done their research. So we're going to try to have some of these civil discussions in a minute, and you've done your research. That's good. What else do you notice about the way that they are disagreeing with one another?
They're respecting each other's responses to each other, so that they're acknowledging that they actually did respond, but they're going off of that or continue
Right.
their direction.
And is respecting meaning they're agreeing with their opinion?
No.
And in preparing for this lesson, I found this quote, and I thought it was really excellent. It's a JFK quote: "Civility is not a sign of weakness." And I feel like that might be part of the problem in our society, that we feel like if we're civil and respectful, it's like, oh yeah, but I agree with you. But that doesn't have to be. You can be very strong in your position. I know this, this is a friend from high school, like she's not going to change her position and how she feels about, she's a firm pro-lifer, but she was able to talk civilly, right? And that's what obviously we're hoping for you guys to do. Not that I'm worried about any of the 3 of you in particular, okay? So let's try using civil discourse to talk about some of your topics, okay? So you ready to go? Can you talk about with the border wall? What was the most compelling piece of evidence you found in your research for why there needs to be a border wall?
Because of the outrageous amount of just violent criminal cases that have come from people that had been deported back to Mexico and coming back illegally.
Okay. So that's your number one piece. Do you all have any feelings about the border wall? Is that something you thought about?
I mean, I agree with it to a certain extent, because I feel like the violence is a problem, so I feel like that's needed there.
Okay. Did you find anything to show that it would be effective in preventing? Like, will it work?
Yeah. They used an example from Israel, how Israel just had a border wall set all around, and their criminals basically had criminally stopped from other areas, not within Israel.
So it was an effective solution. You have an
Yes.
example. Do you think it would be similarly effective in America?
Yes.
What was the most compelling piece of evidence on the opposing side? Why it would not be acceptable to have this wall?
It said it would hurt the environment within Texas
Okay. So
for a lot
environmental
of endangered
reasons.
species.
Nicholas, have you thought about this issue?
I personally try to avoid as far away from this issue as possible.
Because it makes you uncomfortable?
And mostly because it's just, I don't know, it's a weird subject.
Why a weird subject?
I honestly don't know why.
Okay, well, Joey's brought up like environmental reasons. What about humanitarian reasons? Are there any humanitarian reasons that you've encountered, even if you don't find them particularly convincing? This is a country that was founded to bring in people, right? The Statue of Liberty, bring this country was founded that all of us here, unless we're Native American, are immigrants.
Yeah.
Is that compelling to you? When do we decide we stop and it's no longer a nation for immigrants?
When the immigrants decide not to, well, when they decide not that they're over our laws and they decide not to follow them.
Is there a way that we can suss out who are criminal elements and who are here in search of a better life? And historically, has everyone who's come here only been in search of a better life? Have there not been criminal problems with
Yeah,
people immigrating from Europe?
There's been criminal problems, but they've been dealt with through our justice system.
So you think it's now, it's
It's getting
too,
out of control.
it's too much now. All right, let's talk. You said your issue is
Gun control.
gun control. What is your feeling about gun control?
Pro-gun control.
Pro-gun control. So it would have been nice to have you in the last group we had two people who were against gun control, so we could have had that discussion. So what's your number one reason for being in support of gun control?
Well, like the mass shootings are over 9% school shootings, and also I read something that was like that if you have a gun in your home, you're like 90% more likely to like commit suicide, and suicides are a big problem too.
They are. Now, my friends who were here, not you, the last group who were here would say that gun control doesn't work at all because people who are going to obtain them illegally they're not going to obey the law, so what's the point of making more laws? How would you respond to these people who are now over here?
There was no like set of like rules that the people want like are for to take place. Like if you have a gun in your home, people can like ask, not really ask. I forgot like what the like specific thing was to do, but like they can like file to get it removed because of like mental like problems and stuff. And I don't know, people who have mental issues just shouldn't be able to like go get a gun, and there should be more restrictions like and like there's tougher process.
So you think there is a group of people who are like mentally ill that are not like the criminal element that could possibly
and like the rules that
benefit?
said that they wanted to like create like not everybody like when they take a test it doesn't show that they have like a mental illness, so like there would be like further like steps to be taken too.
I like that. I like that. What about you? What have you learned about the DREAM Act?
For the DREAM Act, so the DREAM Act is basically a rite of passage for the children that lives in the United States, but their parents are illegal immigrants.
Right.
So what the DREAM Act does is give them an opportunity to just simply live the American life, because it's not entirely their fault that they are in America illegally.
Okay, and you support the DREAM Act, correct?
Yeah.
What was the biggest opposing argument to what your position is?
The biggest opposing it's kind of weird because the biggest opposing is technically the money that it's going to be involved in it, but some
1 minute,
people,
guys, sorry.
But some people do argue that that is kind of exaggerated and they actually help the economy. But if I'm going to say something that is that may be an issue because of the Dream Act is because again, it can sometimes invite the wrong people. It can sometimes invite the wrong people, although
But what's the greatest benefit then?
the greatest benefit is going to provide, as I said before, it's going to make give the children of illegal immigrants a fair chance to live the American dream, and hey, they may grow up to be one of the big heads of society.
All right, I wonder if Joey agrees with you. Do you think that the DREAM Act, based on what you've said, what do you think? Have you thought about that at all?
I have it. Technically, it really all depends how long they've been here. Because it wasn't really their choice to come here. It was their parents, whether they weren't even born yet or not. But technically, if they hadn't been born yet and they were born in U.S. soil, they're automatically a U.S. citizen.
Right. But if
So
they
either
were
way,
small children.
but small children, depending on how old they are, it really wasn't their choice. So.
Okay, I was glad to hear that. All right, time for our third station. Here we go. Thank you guys, you did a nice job.